footage.
It's a different kind of CSI, obviously. Yeah, I wish there would be more of that. That would be a real good topic, an essay in itself, you know, using your connection to this real guy. But probably most of it would be classified. We got fired if I find out that he is in the movies. You know?
I know, he gave me like 2 hours of the stuff.
Well, it was quite brave of him to do that. So.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
So, I think that community is incredibly important in any kind of art making process, and especially seeing in the last film, The Reference of the Kitchen, and I've read about the kitchen and seen some other work that people who are involved in it have done. And I don't know if you have anything more to say about like what, well, either community and art making and how that influenced all of, you know, what you guys were doing. It seems like these types of projects are very much group projects. You know, you can have an individual idea, but so you need to have a lot of people that help make it happen. You know, and I don't know if you would specifically reference the kitchen as like something that was very like much a part of your life at that point, or any, you know, just any more like about that, because I haven't really.
Oh, definitely, not just in producing the films and getting people to sort of try thoughts around and stuff, but like in how you become engaged with the ideas. They very much came out of like, you know, time spent with all the people that were in those movies, talking about those ideas. I mean, it was a time I wrote one essay about it, I think, about how to shoot a crime sort of retrospectively, the early 80s, and really one of the kind of most kind of period-dated things, I think, in that movie is the sense of time that you get of these people who just have endless time to sit around the loft and talk and talk and talk about their depressed, about this, about that, about their lives. I mean, I remember that as a sort of disappeared time in the city, the time of kind of endless meandering talk. And, you know, out of that talk, projects like these would come. Everyone now is very much more professional and mobile.
Yeah, maybe it comes back now. Now I can see some bankers sitting in their rooms and having conversations like that about the meaning of life and money. Okay.
Hi. Yeah. No, I think what I loved about it is this ambiance of New York that we caught, and how today New York to me is similar to Disney World, because I lived in the East Village a little over 10 years ago. I stayed there for 10 years, and at that point it was already changing dramatically. But I think it's true. I mean, there's just such a cultural shift that's happening in New York. And but I'll tell you, what's interesting was, I think a few weeks before I left to go here, I was in the hardware store talking to this girl. Turned out she was a dominatrix. And so I spent an hour just talking to her in the hardware store, and she showed me all these different
she's back here.
Yeah, so you never,
how much did you charge you?
Where else could you go where you could have a conversation with someone like that? So I'm just curious, would you ever think about revisiting your life as a filmmaker, or going back and exploring New York again, or are there any other cities is filmmaking something you would pick up again?
Definitely not.
But you lived in LA, according to your travel expenses, you know. You live in LA now, no?
Well, I'm staying in Minnesota, and then I'm going to be in New York, and I'm a little nomadic these days. But the book I'm writing actually is set in the Southwest in 2005-2006, called Summer of Hate. And I was spending time at that time in the Southwest, and it's kind of, you know, sort of set at the height of the Bush era, in the heart of it, and has a lot. I mean, the book that I'm writing now, well, one of the things I'm really trying to get at is the sort of, you know, draining of consciousness of underclass America, of trying to write from that place, not just talk about it, but kind of feel my way through to it. Being around people who really have no language for their experience other than kind of catchwords and phrases and cliches off of TV and other popular culture. Or, you know, it's like either born-again Christianity and 12-step programs, or it's prison and addiction. And those are like the only two poles of experience in that world. And that's really, I mean, it's really different, right? And fascinatingly, in one of the places where the novel takes place, Clifton, Arizona, The guy gets arrested in Clifton, Arizona, and he's about to be extradited to Maricopa, Phoenix, you know, Sheriff Joe Arpaio's kind of torture jail. So my character goes out to try and get him out of jail and start to do some research about this town, this community, Clifton. And it turns out that Clifton was pivotal during the Reagan years in the labor movement. It was the test case for the complete deregulation of any kind of mining unions. It was a pivotal strike. The strikers lost. They had a think tank about it at what's the big business, Wharton. Yeah, they were kind of planning this at Wharton. It was playing out in Clifton. And to me, that's some nostalgic already, the idea of a trade union or any kind of working class community. And the sort of underclass gestalt has like completely obliterated any feeling of working class culture. So that the people who are most critical of the people in prison are the people who could easily be there themselves. Anyway, so, I mean, we all know that as a truism, but I had the opportunity in life to kind of like, it was right in my face, and I was right there, and I wanted to try and like enter it more experientially as a writer.
Okay, but Gabrielle, you would not have liked to live in the East Village in the early 80s. You know, there was never cross Avenue B, because otherwise you're dead, you know. So even between A and B, where I lived since 85, it was a very dangerous area, and Topping Square Park was totally a no-go zone, because the homeless, had their own place there, and was shooting and fire and everything, and when you were there to go to the park, they said, "What are you doing in my you are fucking doing in my fucking home?" So it was many ways. I from Europe couldn't understand. They were so near to the city, so many rundown houses with nothing in it, and they said, "It was real estate. What are they doing with that? Nothing, you know." So I'm now very happy, not happy that the bankers are moved in, but they are on the way of moving out again. So that's really the buildings are restored. First we did it in kind of community stuff, now in development and so on. Because the East Village looks now very good. And all the guys you are portraying, they live now in Williamsburg, and or Brooklyn, and that's good. Go there, you know, leave us alone in Manhattan. That is my feeling. I know there are many people nostalgic about it, but I don't think your film is nostalgic in any way. I think it's just giving what it was at the time, very authentic.
And I totally agree with you. I recognize that too. You know, when we were nailed to disaster, and when Giuliani won, that was when I bought apartments, because I knew he was going to sweep it all out and the guy was going to go way up.
Okay, half a year ago, you know, so. Yes. Yeah, you have been there too, right? In the 80s, early 80s in the East Village, yeah.
But I just looking at the films and really struck by it's like they're very cinematic. They're a lot more cinematic than like a lot of young filmmakers' films. Like they're sort of feeling out the vocabulary of what's possible. And you're kind of doing all these different things. You're pulling all these different levers. You're playing with a lot of sound levers that are really eccentric. And it just feels to me like, I mean, there's something really native for you in that format. And I know you talk about film a lot and think about film. Do you miss it? Do you feel like, or you just felt so traumatized by it?
No, I don't feel it, no. But I do feel when I'm writing now that I'm like transcribing movies in my head. And people have said that they find my writing very cinematic. Mm-hmm. So it's just a way, writing is a way of doing it without all the technology. And, you know, if film rights to one of my books were to sell, so be it. I'm just not going to be the one to be involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, please.
Hey, Michelle.
Something about film as a language, and what, in your response to Wolfgang, how you said, I'm doing the same thing, it's just more direct. Is film less direct? Can it be, or do you see it, I mean, or is it more of a personal choice that you've made?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't make any pronouncement.